An update today on efforts to secure justice for imprisoned former Border Patrol agents Ramos and Cauion. Now, the two men are serving lengthy prison terms for shooting and wounding a Mexican drug smuggler. The smuggler was given immunity in exchange for his testimony against the agents. Congressman Duncan Hunter is sponsoring legislation for a congressional pardon for the pair, and so far, 85 Republicans have signed as co-sponsors. And now, two Democrat congressmen, Tim Holden from Pennsylvania, Bart Gordon from Tennessee, have also added their names to the legislation. Now, joining me now, a strong supporter of Ramos and Cauion, former Texas prosecutor and judge, Congressman Ted Poe. And thanks very much for joining us, sir.
Good evening, Kitty.
You know, I want to lay out a couple of facts here. We know that the illegal alien drug smuggler smuggled a caseload, a second load of drugs into the United States after he was given immunity. And then we also know from a DEA report that the DEA investigators believe they had enough evidence to indict him, but prosecutors told them not to. Why is that? And what's your reaction to that?
Well, the Justice Department, the federal prosecutors, always denied there was a second case. And they were wrong about that. There was a second case. And the drug smuggler was not prosecuted on the second case. It's a case that could be made. They chose not to even investigate it, even though there's obvious evidence that he's guilty of that. The jury should have heard about the second case and that he was not prosecuted for it so they could judge the credibility of the drug smuggler, who was the government's only and main witness in this case. So that's very disturbing that the Justice Department really misled the public about the second case. And what we have done is ask that the Speaker of the House and the appropriate committee chairs now investigate, have congressional hearings on exactly this case and why the federal government acted the way it did.
Now, the DEA says there was clearly a second case and they were told not to prosecute. As a former judge, is it unusual for prosecutors to protect a witness to this degree?
Well, certainly it is. Normally the prosecutors prosecute criminals, but in this case they give the criminal a pass, and then while he's waiting to testify he slips in some more drugs. They don't prosecute him for that. They were so determined and relentless to have both these border agents convicted that at any price, any cost, they would give immunity to the drug smuggler, make deals for him so he would testify and cooperate. And the thing is, normally in this kind of situation, when you make a deal with a witness, you usually get the testimony you want.
Mm-hmm. You know, the DEA believes that this was done under a special border crossing pass that was given to this illegal alien. He was under immunity, and he did this while he was being protected to testify, which are pretty shocking details coming out. Now let's listen. During a press conference last October, the U.S. Attorney Johnny Sutton expressed his feelings about the case and feelings about the illegal alien we're discussing. So let's listen to that for a second.
All right.
I feel no sympathy for this alien. I feel that he deserves to be in prison. If we ever find him again smuggling drugs into this country, we will happily put him there.
This does not seem to line up with facts, because by the DEA report, they knew that he smuggled drugs in, and so it seems a little bit disingenuous.
Seems a little hypocritical that they could claim to be a great prosecutor's office for drug smugglers, and in fact the drug smuggling prosecutions have gone down in that district. But be that as it may, he had a second case. He was never prosecuted for it. The jury never heard about it. It's very disturbing how the federal prosecutors handled this case and really were determined to prosecute the border agents at any price, at any cost, including the truth to the jury. It's
shocking. We do have a statement from the U.S. Attorney Johnny Sutton, the office, on today's developments, this DEA report, and this is what he said. We have the statement. The U.S. Attorney's Office cannot comment about matters that are under seal or ongoing investigations. This office will pursue criminal charges where there is prosecutable criminal activity and competent evidence to prove it. Seems a lot of backpedaling going on there. What's your view?
Well, they're hedging on this case. They've got a case. The DEA has made the case for the prosecutors. All they had to do was prosecute it. But see, they were caught in a fix. They're getting ready to use this drug smuggler to testify against the border agents. He picks up another case. What are they to do? What they should have done is dismiss the case against the border agents and prosecute the drug smuggler. But they didn't choose to do that. So they're giving double talk to the American public about this second case. They should have prosecuted him. He's a drug smuggler bringing in twice now $1 million worth of drugs into the United States.
Yeah, the details of this are shocking. Do you believe there's enough evidence for an appeal here?
Certainly, no question about it. My opinion as a former judge, the jury should have known about the second case and let them judge the credibility of the witness to see what kind of deal he was getting to testify like the government wanted him to testify. And they did give him certain privileges. You know, he came to the United States, got treated for his medical wounds at taxpayer expense, and on probably one of these visits is when he brought in the drugs on the second case.
It's unbelievable. What is your next step in Congress, sir?
Well, we have asked, and 30 of us have sent a letter. It will actually go out tomorrow to the Speaker and to the chairs of the different appropriate committees, asking for a congressional investigation on this whole case and to see why the federal government chose the action it did, why it especially chose to deceive members of Congress and the public about the truth of the whole border situation.
Well, we applaud your efforts. Thank you very much for explaining us the situation tonight. Congressman Ted Poe.
Thank you, Kitty.
A reminder now to vote in tonight's poll. Do you believe that immigration raids on businesses that hire illegal aliens are an important component of U.S. immigration law enforcement? Yes or no? Cast your vote at LouDobbs.com. We'll bring you the results in just a few minutes.